Seriously. क्या
शुरू हो गया रिकॉर्डिंग?
हाँ रिकॉर्डिंग स्टार्ट हो गया तो मतलब
हाँ. So इंट्रोडक्शन कैसे दे सोचा?
होगा शायद पानी कम है
हाँ इधर तक का है ना.
इसलिए लग ठीक है बोलो
So Sarvapriya, what do you mean by gender role? Can you
Are we talking about gender role?
so do?
Okay, we will talk about it. No problem. So what is gender role and why is it important? Gender role is a series of responsibilities or characteristics that one portrays in order to get a result. And gender, clearly it is talking about male and female roles in the society. Why it is important? In general, when it comes to personal opinion, one has the right to choose whatever he or she wants. But at the moment a couple decides to have a child, they must choose the parenting style which will help their child be nurtured in the best manner possible. So, with keeping the society in mind and understanding how a better society can be created, gender roles, if well defined, can play significant, rather essential roles in better human beings or better people. And that starts with childhood and how the child has been handled throughout the years. That is why gender roles are important. Okay.
So gender role plays a vital role in the parenting as well.
Yes.
If we see from the
In a sense, I am talking about parenting. I'm not talking about anybody's personal life. How he or she wants to lead it is up to the individual's prerogative. Having said that, when it comes to creating better human beings, that is my intention towards explaining why gender roles are important and how they are justified. And it does not have to be looked down upon, right? A lot of people think that by defining a woman's role, you are confining her and you are curtailing her freedom. By all means, a woman can take her decisions. If she wants to marry, if she wants to have a child, she can take that decision. But on an individual level, on human level, it is understood that every action has a consequence or a result. So keeping that in mind, if they want to have a child, they would want to have a child which is a good human being and is accepted in the society, if possible is well known, has a good position professionally as well as personally, is a happy person. So considering that, I intend to say that gender roles are vital.
Can you give a brief idea or what was how gender roles were defined back in the days? Like a history about gender roles.
I mean, to talk about that, we'll have to go way back to the caveman era, the nomadic life that humans led whenever they were created.
Okay.
Um, Cavemen, as you would call them, um, they would move in tribes, in groups, and while the women stayed back, the men would go out and hunt. Of course, sometimes they required their women as well, but when they bore children, right, it became essential for them to stay back and care for the child. And
Take care of the family.
yes, and the number of children that they may have.
Hmm.
So that became the idea behind gender roles. Biology plays a very crucial role here. Men and women are biologically different, and if you notice, even a small change in our body can change a lot in our minds as well. So we change as people as well. So when these minute changes can cause a difference, men and women are different biologically. Their cells, they have different body parts, and even a single, everything else is same, right? They've got the liver, they've got the heart, they've got the lungs, but there are certain parts which are different, and that has caused their gender roles to be defined, right? Um, a woman is the one who gives birth. She's the one who gives uh, the primary food source, and so this eventually developed into a concrete lifestyle for thousands of years. But it's not that women were always, trampled upon, or they were contained. Women had their freedom. They were while at home. They would not only take care for the children. Eventually, as the civilization progressed, they handled finances for their family in business as well as at home, right? Accountants, in a sense. That's why you can see a lot of women are good at finance. So as time progressed, it kind of became a societal norm, and everybody required their child to behave in a certain way. So they were conditioned since childhood to behave in a certain way, where the women had to learn to stay at home, whereas men had to learn to go out, uh,
Be the breadwinner for the family.
be the breadwinner, have that motivation to go out. So while women needed to stay at home and make sure that they take care of the house and everything. Um, and it also eventually, I believe, it did have give stability to children at that time, right? You would see that um, in India, let's say, uh, they were joint families, right? And there was so much of stability in a joint family that a man could marry while he is in college, right? Not thinking about his career or job or money. Eventually, as college, and the girl would also be young. She would probably also be in college or something of that sort.
Because at that time the society demanded it, that's why? Or do you have any other reason?
Yeah, a very interesting reason actually. Uh, People in the Middle Ages believed that love is a disease, and they did not want to take a chance. And before their children fell in love, they would get them married.
Oh, so they didn't believe in the idea of having a love marriage.
Yeah, because they thought it was a disease. They actually thought it was a medical condition,
Oh,
right?
That's interesting.
Yes, and that's why children would get married. So
Hmm.
it was all about wealth, getting them
Yeah.
together and having children
Hmm.
as the family progresses. So yeah, that is the reason. Mm, so now, even the boy who got married, and obviously the girl gets married and comes to the boy's house, and after he graduates, he can take some time off, probably to spend some time with the wife or with the family, and eventually get a job. And he would stick to that job for a long time.
Okay.
He didn't probably find a job next to the house, right? Probably have a shop.
A
Join the
job just
government.
to keep the family.
Just the family going, adding to the
Family's
wealth. Yeah. So some of them have businesses, the family business, something like that. But at some point, it started becoming, how do I say it? Sounding like slavery rather than the requirement or the norm, right? Because everybody wanted a good quality. Everybody wants a good quality life. Everybody wants to have a good. In those days, people did think about the future. They were futuristic. We cannot say they were uh, backward in some sense, but at some point, the meaning of it all changed. It became negative for some reason, right?
Yeah, we can say like if we take an example of our grandparents, so they have created wealth basically for the family so that during hard times that wealth can be used to get out of the trouble or to get out of the worst situation that the family is going through, no matter what generation it is. So we can say, as you said before, that they were futuristic. So it can we take this as an example of being
Yes.
a futuristic?
In today's world, in today's society, I can give you examples of the Sindhi community or the Marwadi community, where it is forbidden for one to marry out of the caste or the community, and there is a very strong reason for it, right? It does feel that it is unfair, but in the long term, it is the survival and the
Survival of a
pros,
community.
the
So
prosperity
okay.
of the community,
Hmm.
right? I mean, I'm not particularly an anti-Islamist, but what I appreciate about the Muslim community is that they also have each other's back. They are always connected. Even they feel. So, see, I am no one to say whether it is a right thing or a wrong thing. All I'm trying to say is that there is a reason behind it. That they want to flourish as their own community, and that's why they do this, right? They are very protective, and that is how they will also survive and they will also prosper, right?
Yeah, we can see the bonding between the family members,
Correct. It's very difficult.
and
So,
they have maintained over generations,
yeah. So,
like adding values, adding wealth,
yes,
adding
yes,
multiple things.
a lot. So, a strong community plays a very strong role uh, s- in flourishing together.
Mm.
So, yeah, that is why all of this happened.
Yeah, basically, we can say that either we'll go down together or we'll fly together. But
And
we'll.
if you are together, you will not go down together. You go up. That's the beauty of these communities.
Okay. So, coming regarding the gender role, so what's your point of view, like how the gender role is being viewed in this century? Like back in the days, it was clearly defined, but what about in today's
I think,
generation?
in my opinion, if you coin something as westernization, it would be that children are moving away from their families.
Mm.
Their thoughts, no doubt, they are modern, but somewhere down the line, it is disintegrating
Mm.
with the family ties,
Okay.
and it's all right. It's part of human evolution. It's not something we can help. But yes, if somebody wants to thrive, somebody wants to have a long
Like basically
vision for the family, yeah,
excel in their personal and professional
yes.
growth.
We can take example of the Ambani family. Dhirubhai became a millionaire, billionaire. Then he trained his son to become, and he multiplied the business, right? So that has to carry on, go on to the next generation. His children and his brother's children should also
Flourish the same way, or maybe surpass them.
surpass them. So that is how they will.
They are keeping their legacy alive, and at the same time make sure that it grows more and more.
That's true wealth. Yeah, so that's my thinking. It's not easy. I'll admit it. It's not easy to live in a community, and it's very difficult. And it's perfectly understandable why someone would want to move out of his or her community. If that person has the courage, then by all means, go ahead and do it on your own. But that is something.
It's very hard to do that.
It is hard. It's not easy to, always be under people. You will have your father, but you'll also have your chacha. You'll have your dada, dadi. You'll have to listen to them. So you're always listening, and sometimes you cannot speak back to them, or you cannot respond in the manner.
Basically, you are not able to convey your opinion to them. You just have to listen to what they say and act accordingly.
Yeah. Oh, you have to wait for them to die to be your own boss. That is the case. So yeah, it's not easy for someone who cannot take authority. Would scramble away. So but if you decide to be parents, then make sure that you develop strong values. You know why you want to have children. As in, just because you're married, so the most natural thing next is to have a child.
Not for the sake of the society.
Not understand why you want to have children. Why do you? Is it just a symbol of love? Something you want to nourish?
Maybe
let
what
the child
parents
decide.
cannot do, you just want your child to
have.
Not
do, rather probably have. Parents, हाँ उनके कुछ सपने होते हैं. There are many parents who are imposing, definitely. वो बोलते कि हम नहीं कर पाए तो तुम करो types. No, but that's not. I'm saying when somebody thinks, they should not think कि हम अपने सपने किसी पे थोप देंगे. That is
not imposing.
That is unrealistic. But I'm saying that when you think of being parents, why do you want to have children? There are many reasons that you can think of, not the one that you mentioned, but something else. I want to grow my business. I already have a business, right? If I have a child, of course, it should be out of good relations. Choose the right partner for yourself, and then have a talk as to what he or she wants, right? If she also wants to work, and if that is all right with you, like if you think I am all right with that, and you want to have children, but you must think how that will affect the children, and then a call must be taken. Of course, money is important, no doubt, but not at the cost of
sacrificing your child's future,
rather your generation. Right.
So I want to ask you this one question that I have in my mind. What's your opinion on parents both the parents who are working and one parent who is at home taking care of the child? Like how both the child, how the children will be developed over the period of time when they are in their adulthood?
Well, there are advantages as well as disadvantages to this, and it depends on how strong the child is raised, of course.
Let's talk about the disadvantages first.
Disadvantages of which one?
Both the parents working.
Both parents working. Okay. The disadvantages would be one, that the child will not have a consistent person to approach, will not have a lifelong support system, which might cause trust issues. Would require a lot of motivation. They would have issues with motivation. Giving up becomes quite easy for them. These are some of the disadvantages. Of advantages, these children tend to be independent. They have more exposure to things around them. They what else? Can you think of anything?
They would have more decision making skills.
Yeah.
Compared
They
to
are
the other
more.
one.
I cannot call them indecisive. I cannot call them decisive or indecisive. That is depending on. But they will strive to be independent, make their own decisions. They would choose to make their own decisions rather than
depending on someone else to make the decision for them.
That may or may not cause struggles for the person.
Like, it will depend on the decision and the situation.
Absolutely.
So what do you think about, like, the parent who's at home taking care of the child? So what values he should give to the child?
Okay.
Like, how he should, like, a proper way. Do you have any way to impart that?
First of all, the approach should be from love. It should be genuine love for the child. And yes, you must also have this awareness that the child will one day grow up and be an adult, and he or she may take certain decisions that may harm you or may even benefit you. So you need to choose how you want to bring the child up. It is not easy to bring a child up, of course, because the child is learning, right? So it will make mistakes. It will choose to make mistakes. It will not be afraid of making mistakes. And if the parent curtails this freedom of restricting the child and punishing the child every time he or she makes a mistake, then that
it would create a fear,
sense of
inside
fear, some sort of phobia. That is, a lot of people are scared of dogs. That is from childhood, actually, many of them. So that comes from there. And so yes, but if you approach the child with allowing it to explore a little, just let it go once in a while, to see other places,
experience,
engage in some activity. It could be I don't know, Bharatanatyam or violin or even karate,
so that they can find something that they actually like by experimenting different things.
So they're exposed and they learn in a more, with a broader perspective.
Yeah, because their brains are fertile.
Yeah,
when they are young.
Absorb a lot of information. So it's the best time to nurture the child,
So
give
over
it
the
right
period of
nutrition.
time, he or she will know what is best for them, like what suits according to their behavior, according to their personality, whether it can be sports, music,
Yes.
anything.
So you will observe that in school, students who have a regular hobby, it could be drawing, sketching, it could be singing, it could be
Basketball,
it
football.
could be any sport.
Mm.
Those students tend to do better at studying, where their parents allow them to do it, their parents encourage it. The parents who don't encourage the children to participate in these activities and
Just focus on the studies.
they tend to
Yeah,
these
even
children,
I believe that, like, if parents are forcing their child to just focus on studies and just keep pressurizing them, if you don't study well, you will not
they will
going
not
to
they don't
go.
do well in
Yeah,
school.
so they have that fear in their mind, and because out of that fear, they are studying, like,
So
no
that is
matter
not true motivation.
true motivation. That is not true knowledge, we can say.
I can't say knowledge or not knowledge. That is besides the point for me.
Okay.
But the ability to do well in school is through motivation. If the child is motivated enough by the parents, he or she will automatically study well. They will understand that for me to have fun and have an enjoyable life, I must also study. That
Like a balance should be maintained between the
too. So that they can have a good life. So that life, that can only be motivated when the child experiences fun while it is studying. It has a serious time where it needs to focus, so that will benefit, or that would
engage the, like, basically he can use the
that
full
time.
potential of his brain by because he knows that
Yeah.
he has the other activities or
Yes.
in his life, in his or her life.
Correct.
And he gave a dedicated time to that. Now it's time to focus on this, so that
Yes.
so it will automatically come, and he will
Correct.
be genuinely interested in studying.
Absolutely. Yeah. Up top. Yeah. So that's why we need to approach the child in that manner.
Regarding parenting, like, we can talk about like parenting stuff a lot, so we'll continue about the parenting in the next
a different
episode.
video.
Yeah.
Yes.